Hi, welcome to Brain Talk Part 4. This is the final part of a 4-part series. We're talking about neurotransmitters. Hopefully you've watched Part 1, 2, and 3, where we talked about brain chemistry and how important it is to have your brain chemistry balanced. And I guess the key word I want to make sure you understand is balanced. We all go through stressful times. We all go through things that were going to push us in one direction or another. Unfortunately, in today's world, stress is a big problem. So we've been talking about how can I make my body stronger? How can I make my body more balanced? Medicine would say very simply, come here it is, I'll write you a prescription. Go get this prescription for Prozac, Lexapro, etc. fill it. Or, in the world of even some of the more major drugs, give you a more major drug to help you with sleep. So, when we understand that something feels off, I'm not sleeping, I have major GI issues, or as we went through in sections 2 and 3, we went through the various parts of the various neurotransmitters, the excitatories, the inhibitories, and we talked about which ones will give you which symptom. When you start to recognize that, and I guess first step today, part of the information that we're going to share is coming to a recognition that I do have something that's off. I don't want to say that I have a problem, something's off. When I recognize that something's off, I have to seek counsel. That's the critical term. I seek counsel. How do I seek counsel? Well, again, my name is Len Brancewicz. I'm part of the Ask the Pharmacist group. My partner Joe and I do a syndicated radio show Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 Eastern Time. We're heard on SiriusXM radio channel 131. So you can tune in every day. You can go to our website at lenandjoe.com. That's LENANDJOE.com. lenandjoe.com is our website. You can go there and be able to hear and see some of this information. You've obviously found this video. You went through the first 3 sections and now you want some answers. How do I know? So you want to seek counsel, you contact us through our website or you call us on our off-air line and you say, hey, I think I have an imbalance. Could you verify that for me? Well, the first thing you're going to hear us say is food and nutrition is a crucial part. Coming from our clinical nutrition background, it's very important that we're eating correctly, that we're consuming the correct proportions of protein, fats, and carbs. So we would sit down with you and go over a journal of your food and make sure that we're digesting it properly and assimilating it properly. That's step 1. Step 2 is we have to make sure that the macronutrients that we get from food are being balanced by the micronutrients from a proper supportive multiple vitamin. The one that we prefer is a prep called Daily Essentials. Daily Essentials, this blue bottle, is what we really have prided ourselves on. It's a work of love that we have done over the last number of years. We will put this up against virtually any supplement in the United States today, actually worldwide. The most bioavailable forms of nutrients that match what the body typically wants to have, along with transporter enhancements. If we don't have enough micronutrients in our system from a prep like this, we're going to fall through the cracks. We're not going to produce sufficient neurotransmitters. So eat correctly, enough protein, good micronutrients. What's the next step? The next step is we would suggest some testing. Now, how do you test for these neurotransmitters? Well, some that are water soluble in our body that transpose through our lymphatic system can be isolated inside of our saliva. So we send you a test kit similar to this that has saliva collection tubes in it. So we open the saliva collection tubes up, and at 4 specific times during the day, we are going to collect a saliva sample. We're going to mark it, we're going to date it, we're going to put it in a little tube, stick it in the freezer overnight. We're going to collect a sample in the morning, around lunchtime, around supper time, and right before we go to bed. What are we isolating? Primarily a combination of our sex hormones, our estrogens, progesterones, and testosterones, as well as cortisol. You haven't heard us talk about cortisol in this series so far. Cortisol is that brain stimulant that comes from the pituitary gland through a stimulation of the adrenals. It stimulates brainwave activity. So we want to find out if your body is following what we call a circadian rhythm, very high in the morning and following a nice slope down. That's what we collect out of the saliva. Secondarily, on the morning we decide to do this testing, we collect a sample of urine, just a small little cup of urine. We manage to get a little pipette and we fill this up into a collection tube that is clearly marked urine. After that, these are disposed of. We now have a urine sample, sealed, timed, date. We have 4 saliva samples, sealed, timed, and dated. They then go into the test kit itself, back into the box, along with your information, a history piece that we have you fill out, insurance information if applicable. The kits typically come even with the mailing pieces in it, so that we can just simply seal the box up as a human specimen, drop it off into the mail, off to the lab it goes. Typically takes 3.5 to 4 weeks to get the results back. Once those results are back, I will get on the phone and I will have a consultation time with one of the practitioners at the lab to get an assessment of what they see. What kind of patterns did we see? Out of those 14 different neurotransmitters, which ones are high, which ones are low? What kind of patterns? Then typically we get together, you and I get together, or you get together with Joe or your own practitioner, and we review your symptoms. What have you been feeling? And we find out if these numbers that we get, the hardcore numbers, do match the symptoms of what you're having. At that juncture, we work together toward the goal of correcting these imbalances. Now there's a whole series of different nutrient factors that can be used. Prep called Cavanase, prep called Calm PRT, a prep called tyrosine. There's numerous ways that can naturally be used with scientific background to adjust and modulate your neurotransmitters. What's the goal? The goal here is to make you as functional as possible, to be able to correct whatever those imbalances are. Are we talking about eliminating a prescriptive drug? That is a possibility, but again, that's the call between you and your physician. Is this an alternative to a Lexapro or a Prozac? Not necessarily. But the goal is to work in the same pathways. If it is low serotonin, what can we do with the diet? What can we do with the digestive system? What can we do with the supplements to be able to adjunct and show in black and white with testing like this that your serotonin levels returned back to normal? If it's a sleep issue, the same kind of issues can be done. We can collect these samples right before you go to bed. We can collect the samples the first time you wake up during the night. It allows us to take an intimate look at how the brain is functioning. So an answer to many, many questions is, can this be done? The answer is yes. Can it be done with a scientific background? Yes. Is saliva collection an accurate way to assess cortisol levels? The most accurate we found. Is urine the best way to collect the metabolites of your neurotransmitters? Yes. Is it a diagnostic tool? The answer to that is no. We don't use this to diagnose anything. We're using this to give us averages of where your neurotransmitters are, so that we can put together the pieces to make the corrections so that you see the advantages. What's the goal? A better you, a more focused you, somebody who's not dealing with, fill in the blank, depression, anxiety, agitation, muscle issues, lack of sleep. So, an answer to the question is, contact us if you're having issues like this. Let's get together via phone. Let's be able to assess what your situation is right now. If we suggest testing, we do the testing. We look at your diet, we put together the pieces with the goal again of a more functional you. So thanks again for listening. We do appreciate that. And again, you'll see across the screen the toll-free number. Write it down. Go to our website at lenandjoe.com. And if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. Have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you soon.